The snow was heavy and relentless on January 12, 1998 in Port Angeles, Washington, a scenic community 70 miles northwest of Seattle. Newlyweds Marty and Michelle McInerney were enjoying a quiet evening at home with their 3-day-old baby boy, Connor. The parents and a friend were playing a board game. Around 7:30 p.m., Michelle sat down with her son to breastfeed him.
Michelle was sitting on the couch with Connor, and after a while, she was feeding him, and she looked down and she pulled him away from her and looked down, and he wasn't breathing anymore. And she handed him to me, and I yelled at my friend to call 911.
911 emergency.
I need ambulance here immediately.
What's the problem?
My friend's 3-day-old son is not breathing at all.
From that point on, what we did were things which we would do if we had initiated the resuscitation ourselves. And then we sat back to see what these efforts would lead to. And they led to nothing more than just the presence of the baby's mechanical heartbeat.
At 9:45 p.m., about 2 hours after the 911 call, Dr. Turner met privately with the McInerneys and told them there was no point in continuing.
So we gave them permission to take him off the life support, and they took him off the machines, and then they informed us that he was dead.
Within a half hour, a nurse cleaning up the crash cart in the room where Connor's body lay heard the baby gasping. Astonished, she touched his chest and found a heartbeat. She called Nurse Vicki Gross into the room.
I came in and we heard Connor making a noise, the high-pitched breathing noise. Weren't sure what exactly was going on. As pink as he got, he still had blue hands and feet. By now he was warm. We touched him some. We kind of rubbed his back and hoped and, prayed for the best. At one point, he was able to grab my finger tightly. That could have been reflex. I took it as potential signs of life.
The doctor was certain that what the ER staff saw as potential signs of life were nothing more than death throes.
The baby had started the agonal respirations, and this is very common. It was not disturbing at all. It was expected. But there were enough doubting Thomases in the crowd that one had to go that extra mile to convince and to show that something that's terminal is terminal.
Despite his conviction that Connor was dead, Turner embarked on a second round of treatment on the infant, but refused to contact the baby's parents.
I was asked on several occasions whether or not I should call the parents back. And I told him, no, I see no reason to do this because I have nothing new to tell them.
Shortly before midnight, Turner requested time alone with the infant.
I was out and heard the alarm from the oxygen saturation, which is set up to do that if it falls below a certain percentage. I went into the room and the lights were kind of dimmed. So I did see Dr. Turner in there and holding the baby and basically not allowing him to breathe. And he said, I can't stand to have this go on anymore.
I thought it would be the most compassionate thing from the standpoint of the personnel there and the parents to do what I did, which was to effectively cut off the baby's airways and cause the cessation of respirations and heartbeat.
I think I tried to make it make sense in my mind right off, and yet also feeling really uncomfortable with what he did and with what I saw with his hand, kind of the hands that are supposed to help give life, take it.
For the ER team, what Turner had done was certainly questionable, perhaps criminal.
This event had caused a great deal of upset in the staff.
A few days after the incident, emergency room technician Daniel Hessler found an official email waiting for him.
It was stating that a medical control incident had happened over the weekend, and that we were to not discuss it outside of the emergency room department.
Hessler was not on duty when Connor died, so he learned the details from a nurse. He was told the case was under investigation, but didn't believe it.
I hadn't seen any investigators, no policemen, no detectives. It seemed clear to me at the time that a cover-up was in process. Suffocating a patient, regardless of your motive, is not legal. It's not okay. You know, even if you have compassionate reasons.
On January 20th, 1998, Hessler filed a police report with his neighbor, the sheriff's deputy, about a suspicious death at Olympic Memorial. He did so even though Dr. Turner was his own family's pediatrician.
I filed a police report about 6:30 in the morning, and by 11 that day I had been suspended at work. I crossed that little thin white line and violated a canon. You know, you just don't discuss what happens in the hospital outside the hospital.
The report brought the local police into the investigation. He was charged with second-degree murder for smothering an infant under his care. Turner maintained that the child was already dead. As the trial date approached, the community overwhelmingly voiced its support for Turner and his wife Norma. The new team was handed the case just 6 weeks before the trial was set to begin. They found themselves outgunned, underprepared, and holding a murder case that was full of holes.
Talking to the other medical experts on both sides of the case, they would agree these acts were foolish, should not have occurred, and should not have occurred in the future, but that's a separate issue.
On February 1st, 1999, Turner learned that the murder charges had been dropped.
I will sign the order of dismissal without prejudice at this time, as has been forwarded to me by Mr. Towns.